I want to welcome everybody to the Live Well Kalkaska Substance Free Coalition, Coffee with the Coalition Forum. This is an open and informal discussion about substance use disorders and related topics and concerns within the Kalkaska community and Northern Michigan. Before I introduce our speaker, I'd like everybody to introduce yourselves and who you're with, whether you're with an agency or just a community member. So let's start with Dave.
I'm Dave McGraham. I am the medical director of NMORC, the Northern Michigan Opioid Response Consortium. I'm also on the advisory board for FAN in Grand Traverse County, and I'm on the Grand Traverse County Drug-Free Coalition. Nice to be here.
Thanks for being here. Linda?
All right, sounds good.
Hello, I'm Linda Solom with Up Your Prevention. I'm a prevention specialist for Grand Traverse County.
And one of my coworkers.
Yes, I was going to add that, but I thought, well, thanks, Suzanne.
John?
Hey, I'm John Supernaw. I am a peer recovery coach with Catholic Human Services. I'm also the treasurer for FAN. I'm also part of the Grand Traverse Drug-Free Coalition, the Kalkaska, this particular coalition, and an alliance that has just recently started in Antrim County. It's got a really long name that I haven't memorized yet. And I'm also a CPA in town. And right now I'm really thanking the people that work for me because I can continue to do this and not worry about that office right now. It's been wonderful because I just started in November and I'm just loving every minute of it.
Awesome. Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
Yeah. So Kim? Oh, you're on mute. All right.
Okay. I'm an observer and community member, and Linda is my sister, Linda Solom.
Oh, nice to meet you, Kim.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I can't see because I'm on my phone because I was on that other call, so I can't see you, Kim. So welcome.
Hey, Bonnie?
Hi, I'm Bonnie Zabel. I am the Northern Michigan Regional Coordinator for Nation Outside. So we are a group for the formerly incarcerated, do reentry services, which this is a big part of what we do. But on a personal side, I have a son that's incarcerated that has become a full-blown addict while he's been inside. Unfortunately, the drugs are rampant in there. So I'm doing all of this on a business side as well as a personal side, trying to learn as much as I can to help him. And I'm right now we're primarily in Traverse City. So I've been attending the community action team there and for Grand Traverse County and trying to just build this way. I actually live in Horton Lake. So I've got a whole area that I cover and will be covering. So I'm just trying to meet people in different areas and build what I'm doing and learn as much as I can. So thank you for doing this. Appreciate it.
Thanks for being here. Megan?
I am Megan Sorensen, public health educator with District Health Department number 10 and also a tobacco treatment specialist.
All right. Thanks for being here, Megan. Belinda?
Hi, my name is Belinda. I am a community member here in Kalkaska County. I am a member of the Kalkaska Live Well FAN, volunteer in the community. I'm doing my peer recovery coach training the end of February. I'm kind of excited about that. I did also go through the program training for the state police for the Angel program. And I am also a real estate broker and have a son who is currently incarcerated, and he has a opioid use disorder.
All right, thanks for being here, Belinda. And I'm Suzanne Prentice. I'm the coordinator of the Live Well Kalkaska Substance Free Coalition. I'm also a prevention specialist for Kalkaska County and a little tiny bit in Grand Traverse County through Catholic Human Services Up North Prevention. I'm on the executive board of Families Against Narcotics Grand Traverse. I run Stronger Together for Grand Traverse, and I'll stop there because there's a lot more hats. So we could be here forever. But I really want to introduce our guest speaker, Nancy Dow. She's a CCAR residential family, just a second, residential. It's hard doing both jobs here. Anybody want to do all the computer stuff on the next one? Okay. She's CCR trained residential family support coordinator at Addiction Treatment Services in Traverse City and one of my personal heroes. Nancy's here to talk about ATS's recovery or Family Road to Recovery program. And take it away, Nancy.
Well, thank you for such a nice introduction. So as Suzanne said, I'm a family support coordinator with Addiction Treatment Services, but I started my work doing this work for Families Against Narcotics. When I took the CCAR training, I was a family recovery coach for FAN and advocated very strongly for us to have a local program here at Addiction Treatment Services. And they were kind enough to give me a platform to meet with people for FAN. When I was coaching them, they would let me use the offices here. And I just kept advocating on how important it would be to have a program like that at this organization. And so, well, that happened. My dream came true. And there we are. We have this program, and it began to grow so fast that they offered me full time, and I had to step back from being a family recovery coach for FAN. I just couldn't do both any longer. I was on the board for Families Against Narcotics until from the day they started. And I stepped off the advisory board this December, but I'm still very involved with FAN. I also am part of the Grand Traverse County Drug Free Coalition and sit on their board. Doing this work is really important to me. For those of you that don't know me, I lost my 32-year-old daughter, Dana, to a prescription opiate overdose in 2017. So this work is very important to me, and I could not think of a better way to honor my daughter than to do this work, because recovery was something that she wanted so desperately to have. And so I also know that addiction is a family disease. It doesn't just affect the person that struggles with substance use disorder. It affects the whole family. So all these years we've been taking care of helping the one person, but we've not helped the family. And so we find that's a big piece to the puzzle with working with families and helping them. Just as the person with substance use disorder needs to work on their recovery, whether it be communication, healthy boundaries, codependency, self-care, all those things, the family needs to work on the same thing. And so Suzanne, if you can let me share, if you could share the screen with me so I can share.
You should be able to.
I should be able to? Okay. So this is our Family Road to Recovery program. This is the cover of our brochure. So this program is pretty unique in many ways, where it's a little bit different than when I just did family recovery coaching for FAN. I meet with families individually. I'm going to switch to the next slide here. There it comes. Can you see the whole slide?
Yeah, we can see on the side here too, but I can see.
I can't. So see, like if the way I'm sharing it, I apologize. I can't read the other part of it because I'm seeing your faces. So what do
Nancy, you can click that small little line at the top left and that'll minimize it. You can also use that bar and move it.
Oh, okay. I apologize.
At the top. No, at the top of where our faces are.
Oh, I see it. Okay, so now I can't see you, but I can see my slide. So,
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I'm glad you said this was laid back, Suzanne.
Oh no, it has to be laid back or I couldn't do it.
So anyway, people ask, why the Family Road to Recovery program? So this is where I just talked about. It is important for the whole family to get healthy. So I speak at Dekoski twice a month, which is the men's residential here. And as we tell them, it is so important that you work on your recovery and you focus on you. They know that their support system could be very toxic, and they are a trigger to them because they don't know how to communicate properly. They don't have any healthy boundaries. They enable them, all sorts of things. So I talk to them about how important it is to have your family have their own recovery, and then they in turn will share the information to their family. And every other week when I'm there, we have 1 or 2 more families that join the program. So our program, we have many options of how we do this. So you can work individually, meeting one-on-one with myself. And I do that either via Zoom or in person here at Addiction Treatment Services. And we work a program that's structured to them. So we do a self-evaluation on our very first session. And it's just a simple self-evaluation that asks them questions to see where they struggle the most in helping to support their loved ones and where they struggle most just internally themselves. And so this helps me know how to set up a program that's created for them. Some families may have no problem communicating. They may do that very well, but they have a hard time with, even though they can communicate, they don't know how to set those healthy boundaries. And so this is the way we move forward. So the Family Road to Recovery program assists in educating the participants on all the topics here. Do they have a knowledge of substance use disorder? Some people that I work with, they don't understand that substance use disorder is a disease. They feel it's a choice. So right there, I know when I start in the beginning, it's going to be with educating them about the disease that their loved one is struggling with so that they have a better understanding. The loss of trust with family members, significant others, or partners. That's a huge thing because along with struggling with substance use disorder comes lying and manipulating and all those things that just come with the disease. And family members do not know how to trust again. So it's learning to rebuild that trust as they start their early recovery. Dysfunctional family role. That is just another thing that we work on. What is your role? It affects everyone differently. A mom might have a completely different relationship with her son or daughter than the dad does. And so we have to all know how do we work together, even though we may have different thoughts about how we feel about certain things. Resentment, anger related to substance use and substance use behaviors. One of the biggest things that I try to teach families that I work with is it's okay to be angry. You have every right to be angry. It's an emotion that you feel, and I'm not going to tell you to suppress your anger at the outcome of what's happening to this person that you love. But you have to learn to separate your anger and be angry at the addiction, be angry at the disease that has changed your son or daughter, husband, wife's your life and your relationship. But don't be angry at the person. Learn how to be able to communicate with the person without being angry. So, and then we talk about unhealthy communication or the inability to even communicate. Unhealthy boundaries or no boundaries at all. Those are the things we start to work on. Let me see if I can get the next slide up. Okay. So I'm going to go to this next one here. So who participates in the program? So I can work with one member of the family, or I can work with the whole family. So I have worked with a mom, a dad, and a couple of the siblings. I've worked with a mom and an aunt and 2 daughters. So it can be whoever wants to join. Sometimes it's even when we have parents that have divorced. I've also worked with the mom and the dad, and they're not married, but the stepdad also joined. So it doesn't matter who participates. It's just that we all participate and learn how to support and how to take care of ourselves together. So participants in the Family Road to Recovery program, they'll receive education on substance use disorder, codependency, boundaries, healthy communication, and so much more. We do an 8-week psychoeducational group that provides participants with education and family-to-family support. That particular part of the program is an 8-week program that we do, and it's continued. Like right now, we're in week 4. So when this 8-week ends, other people can join. So my boss, Christina Burfield, she is a therapist here, and she's our community outreach, and she runs that 8-week group. We do it every Tuesday from 2 to 3:30. It's an hour and a half. We've been doing this for over a year, and I cannot tell you how wonderful this has been for the families that have joined. Right now we have 2 people that are doing it the second time because they felt they learned so much from it. So it is a great program. So what to expect if you join our program. So the Family Road to Recovery program, participants are asked to participate actively in written exercises. So where it says here now, homework assignments, it's not really like that, but we have a lot of handouts that they can complete and then take home with them. And then when we meet again, we talk about them. When we do those, we do some role playing of how would you communicate to your loved one in a certain circumstance. And so it's very helpful to them. I did just talk about the psychoeducational group. So this service that we do is free of charge to families. There is no charge. If they care to make a donation to the program, they can, but it is not, it's not expected. If someone cannot make a donation, we do this all for free. Let's see, I'm trying to read some of this here. So we develop strategic, individualized plans with mutually agreed upon goals that aim to create positive change within the family dynamic. So when I speak to that, that is, you could have a mom and a dad that totally are coming broken their first time because they both don't feel the same. They both have different ideas of how they should be handling things. But they need to be able to find peace and be able to work together. And so this is something that we really work on to help them, that even though you might both have different thoughts on how you feel, that part's okay. But in the end, we all have to work together. And so the other part of the program that we are just beginning to do here at ATS is when we have an individual that's in our services here at ATS and they're seeing a therapist, we now can, and I'm working with the family, we're going to begin to all come together and have a session together, which would be wonderful because we want to be able to have the person that's in recovery also know what we're working with their family so that we all agree on everything. One of the other things that we do is we coordinate between the therapists. There's frequent contact to access programs toward their goals. We're frequently assessing needs and their strengths. We make referrals out as needed. And so in that way, we refer them to other resources. So example on the bottom, we always refer them to come to FAN, refer them to come to our family-to-family support meeting that we do twice a month in the evening. Other groups, Nar-Anon, Al-Anon, mindfulness. We have a yoga class here at ATS now. And so our families, they can also join that. It is also for the recovery community. But again, it's something that brings them together. Let's see. Okay, so this slide here will tell you more about our 8-week program. So here it shows, like in week 1, when we start our 8-week sessions. The most important thing that we can do is to help them have a better understanding about the disease of addiction. So what is it? Addiction in the brain, stigma of addiction, and the stages of change. So that is a perfect way to start this out. Week 2 and 3, we do codependency. And that one ends up being 2 weeks because that one is huge. It's hard to get through codependency in 1 week. And we find that codependency is such a part of our life, even if we're not in the struggles of a loved one with substance use disorder. I know I'm a very codependent person. I always think I have to take on everybody else's problems and help them. And so every time we do this group, I learn more of how I can use this in my everyday life. Week 4, we talk about communication and boundary. Again, if we don't know how to communicate, we aren't going to know how to set a healthy boundary. Something I try to teach our families is our healthy boundaries are for us. They're to help protect us. And so the more that we explain about a boundary, the easier it is for a family that I help to understand. Self-care, that's huge. During a process of having a loved one that is in active use or incarcerated, it is so devastating and so hard to manage your own life because you're trying to take care of so many other things. So learning about self-care and the importance of your self-care, and that means physically and emotionally. Week 6, we talk about trauma and substance use. That one, again, that one we could almost move into 2 weeks because it is a lot to cover in one session. Healthy relationships, that one is so important. So many times families have their own guilt and shame, and they also don't know how to forgive. And so helping them to understand about forgiveness and how we move forward, helping them to understand that a lot of what that person that you love may have done that damaged your relationship didn't come because that's what they wanted to do, but it came because of the disease. So that part is really, really beautiful to watch how a family can come back together. And then in the end, week 8, we talk about strength and resilience and just knowing how to add additional support, being part of the community, learning how to talk about this to other people. A lot of times, just as people that are struggling with substance use disorder are ashamed and they don't reach out for help, families do the same thing. They don't talk to anybody about it. They don't want to even come in these doors sometimes because there's that, what if someone sees me walking in there? They're going to wonder why. So how do we help them to be able to explain why and not be ashamed of why they are coming here, but know that they may touch someone else's life and be able to have them open up and not feel afraid to make that first step into their own recovery. So this information here is how you contact us. If a family would like to join the Family Road to Recovery program, they have to call our access department at ATS, which is the number on the top there, and they'll get asked a few questions, and then they join the program, and Access will email me and let me know that I have a new client, and I'll reach out to them and find out exactly what is it that they would like, whether they would like to do individual or whether or not they would like to also do our 8-week group. So these are the ways that we do that. I'm going to stop sharing. The only thing I don't like about sharing the screen is when I can't see anybody's faces. I don't know if you're yawning or listening. So anyway, so that is our program at Addiction Treatment Services. I'm really, really passionate about this program because I continue to see it grow every single day. There seems to be different epiphanies that happen all the time, and you know, beyond a shadow of a doubt that you're doing the work that you're supposed to do because, again, last night I had my family-to-family group, and it was so good. We had 11 people in person and 6 on Zoom, and I had a person in recovery there to help answer questions. to the parents. And I always let them know a week ahead of time that we're going to have a person so that they have time to think of some questions that they might have, so they're just not put on the spot. And it was absolutely beautiful. And before I even got home last night, I had emails from 3 different families telling me how awesome that was and how helpful that was to them and how much they appreciate having the support. And I think it's just getting, just like it is for a person that's struggling with substance use disorder, to do that first time reaching out for help, and then it becomes easier and they know they belong. And I have some families that I have been working with for almost 2 years. And I have to say the only thing that was difficult for me with Families Against Narcotics was we did a 12-week program and then it was over with. And as I bet every one of you on the screen knows, it's not over with in 12 weeks, and people still need support, just like a person that's struggling with substance use disorder. If they're in recovery, they need to continue to work their recovery program. And so it's the same for families. And so that's why I said to ATS, we need something here. And I have several families that I worked with for 12 weeks with FAM that have continued on. And it's almost 2 years I've been working with them. And it's amazing because the most amazing thing I think about this program for me is I learn from them just as much as people will tell you, thank you so much. You know, you've helped me so much. I've learned so much through this. Every time I meet with a family, I learn from them as well, because everybody's circumstances are different. Even though there's so many things that are alike, we all are different, and they may challenge me in a different way that I would have to say, oh, well, I'm going to have to find out. And I love the challenge, and sometimes without telling or sharing their personal information, something someone else said might help another family. And again, that's something that I see in my family to family support group, where you have a group of people together. It's wonderful to watch these families empower each other. You know, like I start the meeting off, but there they are. And I tell them that, look at you, you are empowering other people. And then you go out into the world and you talk about it. And so that makes a difference, because there are other people just like them that haven't made that first call, haven't made that first step, and they feel very alone. And so I always let my families that I work with know that once you've contacted me and you've joined or you do whatever, you will never feel alone again, because there is a community of help. It's not just me, but there's many of you that I see on the screen today that all do your part helping people. And if we all do that, they won't feel alone and they won't fall through the cracks. And I mean, I'm not going to say it's not a broken system. There is. And when I listen to the few of you that say you have a loved one incarcerated, that's a very broken system. And it's sad that there is no help right now for individuals that are incarcerated. I mean, it's awful. I will just, before I'm done, I will just share. So, and this is how it happens when we continue to talk out in public. My husband is a sales rep for a food company, La Perry, and one of his customers he calls on hasn't been herself. He could tell, but he didn't want to pry. And this morning she opened up that her son is in jail and that he's also struggling with addiction. And so my husband sat with her, and I get emotional about this, because this is what we're supposed to do, is to continue to talk to people. And he said, Nancy, I would really like to give her your information, and maybe you could talk to her. Her most important thing that she would really like is, what book could she send to her son that would be helpful to him while he's in jail? So those of you that are on the screen that maybe could answer that question for me, I would appreciate it. And then I think about this and I think this is how we all help each other, because I don't really know what that book might be. There might be a few books that are good, but I'm going to find out. And then there we go. Maybe we will help this person downstate, and maybe she will get the help that she needs too, while her son is trying to rebuild his life. So that's really all I have. I could go on and on, but I think you have the general idea of what I do. And I would take any questions that you have.
Nancy, How many Nancy Dows are there around the region working with families?
ATS is the only, I mean, FAN does have it, but ATS is the only treatment organization in Northern Michigan that has a family support program intact. Catholic Human Services is starting to do something, John, I believe, like they're going to do a family group. I don't believe they have this type of a program. We need more. I mean, we do.
Without a doubt.
It's like a pilot.
So, Nancy, you went through, I think you said CCAR training.
Mm-hmm.
Is there additional training to become a family-oriented counselor?
So no, not that I know of. So I just want to say this. So this is something I think could be different. So I did the CCAR training, and although I think it was very good, CCAR training is more geared toward becoming a peer recovery coach. So when I first started doing it through NMSS, my first day, I had to talk to one of the facilitators because I felt out of place. It was really kind of difficult for me to step out of the box. I was on the program with everyone else was in recovery, and that was great because honestly, I will say I have learned the most in the 5.5 years since I lost my daughter from people that are in recovery. And that's why it's important we work together. I learned things that I never realized and that I wish I knew when my daughter was struggling. And I learned that from people in recovery. But being back to your question, I think there needs to be a specific training to become a family recovery coach. Like, I would love to see that. And that's like, we have to do goals at ATS. And that's one of my goals is how do we do that type of training? Because we need more of this at not just ATS, but other organizations.
So, Nancy, how do you get reimbursement for this?
So right now, the only way we can get reimbursement for anyone is if their loved ones is in an ATS program here, whether it's outpatient or inpatient. And if their therapist asks the individual if their family would like to join a family support group, and that individual has to agree. And if he does, then when I meet with the family, I can bill for the services through that individual. But it's through the person that's in recovery. Otherwise, we can't bill for it at all. We're working toward that and really advocating for it. But otherwise, it's all done by donation and grants. I mean, to keep it funded. Yeah. I wanted the ARPA money, but that didn't happen.
I have more questions if other people don't.
Keep going, Dave. You're doing good.
So I always like to try to figure out the interconnections between things. So FAN has, is it the Stronger Together program?
Yeah.
And Suzanne, you do that, but that's an 8-week program?
No, it's actually 2. There is the kind of the mentoring program or the peer recovery program, which was what she was talking about. Our Stronger Together group is a 12-step program. So we do the 12 steps and then we start over again. So kind of like an AA or an Al-Anon or something. So it is a support group that's out there. But I don't know. I like what Nancy does too. I think going through this class that Nancy has, and then a lot of times she'll refer people over to me to continue that support. But she touches a lot of really, topics that need to be touched, and we don't always do that. I try, but I follow steps and a procedure that we're supposed to follow.
So what would you see as the role for FAN? I mean, you're helping these families, you're doing family focused sessions and then groups of families coming together, but what would you see the role of FAN as being?
Well, the same way as what we're starting to do now, like last month when we just did open talk. I think FAN needs to have more of that where families will come. But I feel like it's really important that we have recovery individuals come to FAN. They played a big part, and I'm not seeing them come anymore. You know, like, I think we need to have, it's sort of the same, because I only do my family to family group twice a month. And so wouldn't it be nice if FAN had sort of the same thing, where maybe not every time we have a FAN forum, but every other, have a person in recovery speak, or just be there to answer questions. Like last night, again, you know, the questions that sometimes families have, and that's what I tell them, I can't answer those. I'm lived experience like you are. We need a person that's in recovery to answer those questions. And so now I'm trying to think of some of the questions they asked last night, but it was so good. And even if you just have a recovery person share for, like, sometimes we put too much on speakers being up there too long. Just have someone in recovery give a short talk and then be open for questions. And just like, we have so many individuals on our FAN board that have different qualities and belong to different organizations. It's just a lot of resources for them, an individual that came.
I agree with you, Nancy. Even if FAN had like a family in recovery speak one month, and then somebody, you know, individual in recovery another month, and then have a special speaker and start over. That would be.
I mean, like, I think it would be good to have, and I think that might have been what you said, is to have a family that has gone through a program speak on how important it is. So, like, I have families that have done the ATS program, but I also have families that have done the FAN program. That would be, they'd be glad to come to a FAN forum and speak about how important that was. And yeah, I mean, I think that's where we need to go more with Families Against Narcotics.
Let's get it done. It's not that difficult.
Yeah, it isn't. It is not.
Do you want to join the board again, Nancy?
So I'm going to interject here a minute with a question. I am noticing, I just took a few quick notes, Nancy, but you have trauma and substance use as a week for trauma causing vulnerabilities to addiction. In week 8, you have strengths and support, resilience, community resources. Now, is some of what you do, or if you can outline what, like, is that in the program with FAN, or is that the program with ATS? Because those sound to me really, really strong, important topics. So I just wonder.
Those are through ATS. And the 8-week psychoeducational program, this series, that was created by Christina Burfield, and she leads that. So like today from 2 to 3:30, we will be on Zoom, and she will facilitate that. I co-facilitate with her, but she leads that. And I tell you what, again, I cannot say enough about that 8-week series. I know for people at first, they think, oh my gosh, 8 weeks every Tuesday, but they show up, and we have had just a really good turnout. It usually is maybe 4 to 6 people on there. And we do a survey afterwards. So how was this for you? What would you like to see different, and all that? And it's just been very good. So, I mean, we tweak it from time to time. Like, one of the lines on there, and I said this last night, used to be that you have to detach with love. And Christina doesn't like that verse. That she doesn't like it. She said, how do you detach with love? You can't. And, you know, it's like the old tough love. And I don't particularly care for that word. And I don't like the word enable to sound bad. As a parent who with lived experience, did I enable at one point? I probably did, but I don't like being told that in a negative way. I did what I did out of love to help my daughter, because I would have done anything to help her. And so we know what we know. And so sometimes do we do things that probably weren't the healthiest for them? Yeah, but we did it because that's all we knew. But anyway, back to your question. So she found a different line that we use now, and it's called detaching from the chaos. So I like that better than detaching with love. Because you don't want to detach from the person that you love, but you do want to take a step away from helping to continue to support the addiction. So sometimes we have to make certain changes. But again, it's the 8-week I can't say enough about. And so people can do one or the other or both. Like people can meet with me individually. They can do the 8-week, or they could do both. A lot of times people will meet with me first for a little while, and then they might meet less often if they join the 8-week, just because it's a lot. But if they've got a lot going on with their loved one, they'll do both at the same time. It just depends upon where people are at.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I really like this, and it does sound like, there's a couple different options, which is always good to have those choices. And that can be, we can still be supporting the community and it's different outreaches, so to speak, but even if it's a different program.
Right.
So, this is good. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all out here to fight for the same thing, and we need to work together.
Together. Yes. Yes.
Yes, we do.
100% agree.
If somebody, like, for example, if I wanted to take your course, could I? Not being a family person, being touched by recovery, that I'm in recovery.
Right.
Could I just take it as a single person, or does it need to be a family group?
No, it does not. No, it does not. So one of the first things I would suggest, John, you just sent a message to me anyhow, is come check out our group. And if you want to be a recovery speaker at one point to my family-to-family group, I will reach out. I have next month set, but I do it once a month and I switch it off. 1 month I do a female and the next month I do a male. And I find it's important to do that because some parents have daughters and some have sons. And
sure.
For them, I think it's a help if they can have both. But I will definitely reach out. You might want to join the 8-week group and see what that's about.
Okay.
There's a lot of options. So yeah, let's connect and talk. I would love that. And then the other thing that I would like is I always put out Families Against Narcotics resource information. It goes in my welcome packet when I first meet with a family. And I also put it on my table at my group last night. But I would love if you have work that you do and you have resource information that you want to give me, I will put it out on my table. I would be happy to do that. Or anything that you have going on in the community, an event. If you email it to me, I'll print the flyer off and put it out in our family-to-family group. So
okay.
So just so you know, Nancy, actually Belinda and I are working on a project where we are getting information from different jail facilities within Northwest Michigan, information on how to write to the person. Can it be a letter? Does it have to be a postcard? Where do you send money? How, the phone company, because we all know that the different jails within the state, they use different companies for phone and mail, or some people you have to video chat, or some people you can send a text, others you can't, and it's different. So and then Michigan Department of Corrections, so we're putting together a flyer for that information for families. So you might have somebody in Kalkaska that's got somebody down in Wexford County in the jail, and they have no idea how to contact, anybody, or, how to write to them. So we'll have all this information in one place.
That would be so helpful, Suzanne. I currently think I have 3 families that have individuals that are incarcerated.
It's going to take a little time, but we're working.
That would be really good.
So of course we have to get it okayed through NMRE. So
right. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any other questions?
Nancy, just going back to other resources like you in the region? So somebody from Gaylord, a family from Gaylord needs help. Who would they see? I mean, would you recommend they go to Al-Anon, or what's the closest thing to what you offer in parts of the region?
So I can work with, I work with people in the UP right now. I mean, I do Zoom, individual Zoom sessions. So clearly I can't meet with them in person, but I do work with families all over the state. And like the one my husband was just talking about, that's down, I forget where, but anyway, I'm hoping they'll call and I can help them. And then if I can find out local for them, I will. So if someone's in Gaylord, I may refer them to Catholic Human Services there or FAN in Gaylord, whatever resources are there for them locally to go to in person. But I also will work with them. It doesn't matter where they live. Because a lot of times, Dave, the individuals that I'm talking to at Dukoski, their families don't live here and they're from downstate. So, but I have to say, that's the beauty of Zoom. I would much prefer to be in person with someone, sitting with them here in my office. But if I can't, I'm so grateful that we have this Zoom option, because it makes it possible. I mean, I wouldn't be able to meet with that family that came to our fan meeting otherwise either, because they can't drive up all the time. Yeah.
Last question. Maybe you can't answer this, but is ATS going to look for other folks with your training and background to expand their program? Or
I would have to say, Dave, yes. If this program continues to grow the way it is, yeah, I would say yes. And what I'm grateful for is that the therapists here, they so embrace this program. They absolutely love it. And so I love how we all work together. That's the most important part, is the therapists have to work together because they're trying to take care of their individual and I'm trying to take care of mine. And how do we come together and everybody work together? So the part where I can meet with the therapist and their client and they can meet with myself and my clients, that's huge. Last year when I brought that up, they were like, I don't think that's going to happen. And now we're going to do it. And I'm like, what do you mean we're not going to do that? I'm a pushy individual. So I'm like, come on, you guys. Yes, we are. And same thing with having a group here. I love it. Yeah. So in end, I just want to tell you that in closing, because yesterday was a really good day to have work so closely with an individual in recovery with Mackenzie. So yesterday we started out our day by going to East Middle School. We have not been able to be in the school for over 2 years. And East Middle School made a documentary called Predator and Prey 4 years ago. And so the kids would watch the documentary, which is 18 minutes. And then we would come in, we came in on a Monday. So they watched that documentary on Friday, and then they work on takeaways. What questions do you have? What did you take away from this documentary, etc.? And they get that prepared and we come in. So we went in yesterday, first time in 2 years that we've been in person. It went so completely awesome. It was myself, Lauren, and Mackenzie Gunderson. It was our person in recovery. The kids listened, they engaged, they asked questions. And I can't even tell you how awesome it felt to be back in the school system again. And we just need to do more of that work. And that all happened because of a teacher, Jody Mackey. We would not be in that school if it wasn't for her. She just pushed and pushed, and there we are. We have a resource table that we're going to reorganize in the library. It's going to have information there. So again, every individual plays a different part, and we're all heroes in what we do. And I'm just grateful to be connected to so many beautiful people that have helped me along my way. So thank you very much.
Yeah. So Bonnie has a question, Nancy.
Sure.
Yeah, sorry, I had a call from the prison, so when that comes in, you take it. Because
yes, you do.
So I missed a lot of that. So I apologize if I'm kind of asking something that probably already got asked.
No, I see it. Your note in the chat. When are the monthly groups?
I'm not sure if that was me, but I'll ask.
Oh, that was Belinda.
No, I was going to ask if you're connected to either BDAI or Keys to Freedom in Traverse City area.
No, but Nancy Bryant that was trying to come on is
yes.
BDAI. Yes. So she joins my meetings.
Okay.
My family to family meeting in the evening. She'll join them or come in person. Last night she joined by Zoom, and that's helpful. We tried to do a BDAI group here at ATS for Nancy, and she struggled with that with the technology
okay
part.
It was through you. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know about that at the beginning, but there was 1 month left, and so I was going to try and help facilitate that, and then she kind of put it on hold. But they do mentoring in the Grand Traverse County Jail, so that might be something. I don't know if the other local jails have anything like that, but we might be able to tap into something like that to get services in there and at least have, a connection that family members out here could talk directly to someone that can go in and implement that. And I know through some of the prison systems we're trying to also work with, that would be through Citizens for Prison Reform. They are actually trying to get whether it's clergy or an attorney that could do well visits for like families that can't get to the UP or like that, to try and get in and at least do a checkup on a loved one for family members that can't get in for a visit. So we're trying to grow that. So that might be something we could talk about. And
I would love to stay connected with you. Can you make sure you give my email information? It was on the screen before, but can you share it with everyone?
Yeah, I can put mine in the chat too.
Okay. And then I see a couple things here. Kim, yes, that book is a very good book. It is. I think it's a great book for a family member.
Yeah, who's just entering into this for the first time, like you were just talking about somebody earlier. So this would be, I think, eye-opening and informative and helpful for them to walk through that. The son also, and I'm sure you're aware, the son also wrote the book Tweaked. But the child, if their son or daughter hasn't recovered yet, I wouldn't recommend them read the book because it could be triggering.
Yeah.
For somebody who hasn't cleared the addiction model yet. But even the son had, gone in and out of, I don't know if you read The Tweaked by the son.
No, I have not.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a good insight on his side, why he did things hurtful to the family. And once he was clean and clear, he realized how hurtful those things were.
Oh, sure.
So it's kind of redemptive. It is a good book to read as well.
Good. I will remember that. Might be a good one for families that I work with. I personally, I was hoping to find out a book that might be good for the individual that's in jail. So like if you were going to send your son a book, what book would you send him?
Oh, I have sent him several self-help books, and I'm trying to remember the one specific. It was PAX. It was a father-son. PAX. I can't remember the name. I'd have to go downstairs and get the book. And we read it together, and it takes you through the journey of, he was a college student and his addiction and all the money he spent, and dad didn't know about it. And then how dad, but it was like a 9-year journey that they went through. And he's referred back to it several times when he's been trying, but it really comes down to, he's got to make the effort, and it's been tough. So, but he does refer back to them for some strength, but it really helped me more because I didn't know anything. It wasn't something I dealt with out here. So it wasn't anything that I had familiar with. And in there, I'm sure it's the same, but in my mind, it was a little bit different because if I don't pay his bill, what's going to happen?
Right.
It's, in the times I've been strong and done it, I was working with another mom. We were trying to hold each other like, stay strong. And then her son got beat up with an inch of his life because he didn't pay his bill. So it's a different world and dealing with it. But it's the same as in you keep enabling. He's got no reason to quit. So how do you deal with that? And I haven't found a book on that specifically. I have heard of The Beautiful Boy as well. I actually heard through Lydia Bloom, who's the offender success servicer. She told me about that. And I think she was in a class that they had to read that. But I have not read it yet. So that's the second on that Beautiful Boy book. And
then I see Bonnie, Belinda. I see Belinda, you had asked, when are the family groups time and place? So the family to family group is twice a month on a Monday night from 5:30 to 6:30 at the porch. But I apologize. All my flyers are downstairs in the group room from last night still. I can share a flyer to you, Suzanne, and can you share it with everyone? I'll email it to you.
Okay.
And that will give the next date. So our next date that we're doing a family to family group is February 13th at 5:30. The unfortunate part about that one is that one I'm not doing via Zoom. I'm not going to have a Zoom option because we're doing a Valentine activity for the recovery home. So we're going to be putting Valentine bags together for Dukoski. And so sometimes it's just really good for the families to feel like they're helping support someone in recovery. So we're making Valentine goodie bags that are going to be delivered the next day over to Dukoski. And we'll still have open talk and everything, but it's hard to facilitate a Zoom and do an activity. I tried that when we did our backpack project at Christmas, and it was really hard. So, but then our next one after that is February 27th at 5:30 at the porch. And there will be a male recovery speaker at that one.
And will that one be on Zoom, Nancy?
That one will be on Zoom, Belinda. Yeah. I apologize about the other one, but it is hard to do that. You know what I ended up doing? We were doing a backpack project, putting backpacks together for the recovery homes for Christmas. And it was so hard to tell the people what to do that were here in person and talk to the people on the screen that I muted us and I let the people that were on Zoom have their own meeting. And they actually loved it, but I don't know that I want to do that again. So I'm just going to not do that. And then our next one after that, we only have one meeting, one family to family meeting in March because of spring break. So that one will be March 20th.
And I was looking at the porch website like last week, and I seen that Valentine thing you're talking about. So very cool.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm excited. I love to try to find some different ways we can incorporate activities, and it can help the recovery community as well. So
Nancy, if you have any flyers that you want me to put out in the Kalkaska community, if you want to do them at the desk, what time do you guys close tonight?
Here, the desk closed?
Yeah.
I think like 4:30.
Is it? Okay. Well,
or it could be later. Yeah.
Well, if you can get those together and leave them at the front desk, I can probably actually pick them up tomorrow.
Okay. No, that would be great. I will.
The community. So
sounds good. Yeah, we do I'm just going to throw this out here. We do an ongoing CAN drive here at ATS, meaning people can drop off their returnables to us at any time. And all the money goes to help people in recovery, whether it be a gas card, a bus pass, a drug test, whatever. It's for individuals that cannot afford to get a gas card or whatever. So anyway, we take CAM. And so that's another thing. And then we also have and I'll give you a flyer for this. We have a community closet, which is like a store in the lower level here that has generally used clothes. So it's clothes and coats and boots and jewelry. And I mean, there is so much stuff down there. And so it's not just for individuals in recovery. It can be for an individual that just doesn't have the means to purchase clothes. So that's open during business hours as well. So there's a lot of stuff happening at the porch now.
Yeah. It's a great program over there. They do.
It's a happening thing.
We're to the end of
everybody.
Yeah. I want to thank you, Nancy, for coming on again. You're one of my heroes. Thank you for giving, families a voice, for encouraging families. Because I know when we get into these programs, before that, a lot of us we don't want to talk about it. We're into ourselves. But when you get into a group of people that are going through the same thing, you get courage to be able to talk about it. And then you can talk about it out in public. And sometimes we are our loved one's voice. So
we are. Yes,
it's important. These programs are important to, for us to understand and for us to go out and, talk to the community and educate the community on what this really is and what we can do and how change can happen. So
thank you very much. Seriously, I feel like the education part is the most powerful thing, because people that don't understand, that are ignorant to understanding addiction, they won't be able to make a difference until they're educated. So and we all do this. So this is so good. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you listening and being a part of this. And thank you for all you do. And for those of you that have loved ones that are in difficult places right now, you are in my thoughts and prayers, and never give up hope. Never give up hope. Thank you.
Thanks, Nancy.